radio, you'll also be. We are online serving the global world. Without wasting time, njakweza abagenyi bange omugisa banje karahati wasoko ambatura mukyao bamba kutura mukyao. I'll just go direct to one of them atwanjuro mto gwekero cyahati. I'll start it with the man in the uniform. Yes, myake genzental mka uniform yowe. Greet us this morning, then tugambire bali yao na nambiro kuruka.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Ahwera Nicholas. Yeah, working with Platinum Medical Center, yes, which is located on MT Road. Yeah, as we've come here today morning to talk about what we call isolated systemic hypertension, as we shall be taking you through it. It has affected many people unknowingly. So today we have come to give more highlight on it and see how we can do away with it for the betterment of our life. Thank
you very much, Mr. Nicholas. I'll come here, someone who is near me. Abaramcheo, abagambe nambera rugire. I think also, atwarikimo mgisa atwanjura topic of discussion. We started from there.
Good morning, viewers, and thanks to Mr. Chiza for the kind host of this morning. Abaturikizi nywena nintwarakana kugisa kukubatangira no kubaramucha no kwakutyo mwaka by the way, since it's my first time coming here, and I've never gotten a chance of saying such. I'm Abara Ninyo, Dr. Rogers. I'm the medical director for Platinum Medical Center, and turahanu kubaza having to Dr. Vanizo Gomez w'abantu na muno abakayikuru. And in this case, ntuja kubantu baza about pressure. Awaki ntuja kubaza pressure. Akashumi kingi stangi na baruire ni bagikara mbagamba Dr. Nkajena mwirwaro. But urukuja mwirwaro nisanga pressure yange ya higuru kandi ya hansel kurungu. Wachi muhaguzo musaka gambira kina gamba musaka ngama ndukuru. And in the long run, we have gone ahead to lose people of that caliber, and we are here now to talk, expound more knowledge regarding isolated systolic hypertension. So the omujungu mufune so akujeta ISH. And isolated systolic hypertension niyo pressure irikutabanza muno abakayikuru abazei tankla myaka 5 gara yiguru. Abwak twatekereza with 40 vingu tuganyure ene nsonga mu in details. We have lost many lives over the same matter, that we think if people could be told what bagambira kara basobora kusere twakora kandi tutangatangira ebyo nikuba twine kumanya ngo pressure egra readings ibiri ari ya higune ya hands. So ya higune yeteta systolic, ya hands yeteta historic. Systolic pressure niyo pressure mutuma kuba ngwekwata when the heart is contracting. And it's that contraction that gives that maximum force to inject to musai kuruga mutuma ukatuka gagena mitweke bine byombi. Diastolic pressure niyo pressure when the heart is relaxing omusai gumaze kugenda atukoreki ero ne relaxinga rundi nchigamenda motor. Is it koroberam? So those two figures, they impact in people's lives significantly. So abwaki ntutekereza mumari abantu bine kumanya abwaki arho isolated systolic pressure. Isolated nchimase kintu eke yahui.
I think Dr. Rogers, before we go into Hawaki, can we look at the causes and what is the target? Awokuba has talked about, now things have changed. Not like those days when we are still growing up, however much, you are not too older than me. Pressure was, and when it was Huragambantu Abakuru. But Sazon, the story has changed. Someone is 35, pressure. Someone is 45, pressure. I want to start it with Dr. Nicholas. Can you first tell us why is there an increase in general pressure in even young people?
Yeah. Mostly nowadays you are facing that challenge of increased blood pressure even in the young due to different factors. First of all, nowadays lifestyle has changed. Yeah, you find we have factors when you find someone is like has started smoking at an early age. Someone is taking alcohol. Very many of the youth are nowadays stressed. So all those factors are increasing on the chances of someone getting even hypertension at a young age. Sometimes you find it like it is familial, it is in the family history. So if you find that in your family, right away from your ancestors, very many have been getting hypertension, you're at the most high risk of getting it even at your young age. So those are the factors, environmental factors, where someone is even living. Dietary, nowadays we eat as if, those days our ancestors used to eat well. You find someone is putting greens, these eggplants and whatever, but nowadays we are eating this fried chicken, so dietary factors have affected us as the young in getting that hypertension at an early age. So those I mentioned but a few, but a lot of factors have contributed to hypertension in the young age nowadays.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Helen. I think now I come back to Rogers. Hatotsobororeo, this isolated systolic hypertension. Neha yonyini kuja organizer from the other pressure, the other hypertension you've talked about. We go deeper into it. Omuntu ajetegereze. Akwa usangoli na kamashini kamuka kukwepema pressure. Narora alkuruhungu weitu like sometime back we buried dom keikuru kaihokwa akagwabugwa kumtwara mwirwaro ngo pressure yafa weitu akapema like 2 days before ikaveri normal, but just within 24 hours yafa. I want you to explain and differentiate the two. Hamuntu alio na aturanye chakaleni kwetegereza what we are really talking about.
What you mtekaniza once again we are back and we are now in details of isolated systolic pressure, ISH. Ngokunamba sobolire tuine pressure readings ibi ya higuru ni ya hansi. Na bagambe ya higuru ntumutuma kuba ngwe contracting ngwe kwata kusukuma musaye ngo gende kufuna kuzinga imbichoke bindi. Then ya hansi the systolic nukumutuma kumazekole relaxing. So Dr. tugambire mu nsonga zimwe zo kuletera abantu abambarwara pressure twara mu bintu nka bibiri bisatu, but ikintu kwenda kumaya like ngokoro umuntu novuga motoka noteka nokora service sema price mbomezi bw'abantu. So in such cases of ISH omutuma aikoma umuntu okuma like the more you age the more your arteries weaken up. So when they weaken, they lose their elasticity. In this kind of, when the heart is contracting, pushing blood out of the heart and going to the major arteries like the aorta or aorta, that elasticity loses. So when the elasticity is lost, the aorta gets more stiff. So that stiffness makes it harder for the arteries to sustain that pressure from the strong output from the heart. So in that kind of scenario, omutuma nguja kucheka. Then pressure eyokuletera contractility of the heart eja craising. Then obwa mutuma ngufiringa gurunomo. So noja kamba scenario noja kuja mwirwaro sange your blood pressure nesoma 16 ahali nsanje. Omuntu ayinubwa bwo kugama pressure unu abako probably takimanye. Ogendo pume pressure yao sange 15 hari nkagana mna omuntu naja kugamba pressure yawe but isolated means ekintu ko yahura ya higuru yonka negumera higuru ya hanse
negumera kuru.
So ebintu nkebyo tuine kumanyira abo kuba tigire kusanga twasanga it is the leading cause in elderly ekuleta heart attacks. And in that regard we end up getting heart failures. So nkugo mukiko kwa nogamba previous akabara kurungi from nowhere bagamba ya humura bumutumu. So ebintu nibyo nkebyo nkabimu ebyokuleta ensonga nkezo. So it's high time itu abantu batoro nensi yona abokutfura na kutrora. We must appreciate that isolated systolic hypertension, non pressure ya higuru kubera higuru ya chumiana. It's not normal. You are not innocent having such a blood pressure. Like how people are always telling patients in the hospitals. You have 1/5 out of 70, and someone tells you go back home, you are normal. That's not normal and should be treated. So we need to understand what really causes it and what really puts someone at risk. Nkatofutani kwa sukaba bagambi. One, wasanga smoking.
Etaba mbagurusi yabo.
Okunywa alcoholism, okunywa marwa. Even diabetes. Sukari ne keshara ikia blood vessels is maramani. So in that regard, you cannot sustain that pressure when the heart contracts up. Ensugo, and what is ensugo like in kidney diseases, like renal failure? It also weakens the arterial supply. At the same time, remember, in the kidneys, it's where we have the renin. And it's that same area that we control pressure of muntu.
Dr. Nokusabire, because there are people following. Oborobeze mu rulimi either use runyakwale ruchiga omuntu ndikirunyoro rutoro omuntu ayitegereze ikitu mukubazaho nyenjakara hati.
Kanengo kubaza runyankole. So nabagamba pressure, isolated systolic pressure. Ni edge pressure kuzo mu irwaro kashanga pressure higurira chukumyana. Then omuntu akwadurina chukumyana hari inkaga agamba turi kunjotahe. And echaneteri izobo mu studio za 4TV no kubagambira ngo wazumirwaro okashanga pressure yawe ya higuru persistently nabanda deno zo muibono shangira higuru ya 10 15 10 hanseri shan chana. It's high time we thought for treatment abwenshonga ejo pressure research nerekaniye it's the leading cause of heart attacks, heart failures, strokes, and more somba ntabakikuda imeshi kwebwewa. So ncho nugamba like let's from today onwards ito abantu abakutura we must desist from that analog yogamba pressure yange
nungi ndiro byabara bwange nyowe muka nyirukire nyenchakara.
Yes sir. So ncho nanimbagamba we need to understand now that isolated systolic hypertension emaziro habantu kane cyabatwa. So boraje mwirwa okashanga pressure ya higuru persistent maisa kachu negumizamo ri bulikiro neguma higuru ya 10 serum saho akujanjara obujanjara buruho batutake janjabire. There is what we call lifestyle modification. Iyo ngo umuntu no yefahota tibiri byo gamba kizo ikare hari mu studio ikariye no mu studio no ikara moto no moto no ikara munji no ikara moto. You need to be that physical inability ni one of the causes. In addition to alcoholism, kunywa mwenge, kulese etaba, ni ndwara ezingo kumbagambire za sukari na nensigo. So guno mulanga ningutera abantu bona abakutura TV. Twekambe muno kumanyira obwomezi bwito kubuli kandi kintu chikora by testing ourselves regularly. Iyo kizo kasemba tukwekeza pressure kubanga kabuza.
I think on Tuesday I was in Muchwa. It was Monday around there.
That's good of you. But most of us, you have gone for 2-3 years.
2-3 years.
But umuntu noterwa muto. Tukwa. Obukorwata kugana kwikarugudo no jwa. Ekiro kwicha rubartaro we call it paroxysmal nocturnalism. Kusanga umuntu nyamusano ruhumpora mpora ekiro mwoya ngo rugahara muno. So obunu bubururu bwo umuntu ine kumaya mari.
I want to cross to Dr. Nicholas. Yes. What could be the signs as isolated systolic hypertension that are unique from the other pressure that we really know? Umuntu nkwatanga amanye hati naterwa mu mutu kandi bangambire kandi ukabonero kiyembaganiza halkali akandi. What could be the unique characters of this isolated systolic hypertension? I don't know whether they call them symptoms or signs and what of this from the other one that we know.
Oh, thank you. Mostly, as we have said, this usual pressure that we know, the pressure that has been existing when we have raised or elevated systolic values and elevated diastolic values. So this ISH, isolated systemic hypertension, I mean isolated systolic hypertension, we don't, unless you go and do measurements, you prove by the readings of the values you have gotten, the signs and symptoms may remain the same. In most cases, they are the same. The real pressure, if you have been having headache, even this isolated systolic hypertension, you will still experience headache. All the signs and symptoms are the same unless you go and you find that the readings keep significantly, like the upper pressures are higher than the lower pressures. That's when you know that it is isolated systolic hypertension. And mostly when you are an adult, mostly above 50 years of age, and you're having that hypertension, it should come into your mind that most probably must be having isolated systolic hypertension. Yes, but we cannot just rule it out by mere signs and symptoms. Unless you go and take measurements, then you check those measurements.
As he said on the two readings, the upper and the low ones, our figures as the figures are no more until you get an expert to analyze for you this. Kwa self-treatment, nine was to grow low. Kwa ekizemuno kutabaneza. So I have my machine at home. Why should I go to the hospital? Do we need an expert to really interpret gamma now? If your measures now have reached on this level, you should go to the health expert or to a doctor to sit and you look into it to analyze.
Yes, we have, as we have said, normal pressure is always 120/80.
120/80.
Yes, that is the normal pressure. It is mostly in ranges 120 to 130/80 to 90. But then when you go and take a measurement, you find your blood pressure is 130 to 140, or 140 and above. Like you take three measures at different intervals, you find your the systolic blood pressure is 140 and above. Then the diastolic blood pressure is 80 or 90 and above. It means those different pressure readings at different intervals. That's when you can tell that you have you're hypertensive. We grade hypertension in stages, stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So that when you find your blood pressure is raised above 140 over 90, that is stage 1. If you find it is over 160 to 180 and above, that is stage 2. Then you find if it is mostly 180 and above, that is another stage. So if for you have been testing yourself from home and you find at different tests, we normally do either when you're seated, when you're lying on your bed, so in different positions and at different intervals. That's when you confirm that I'm having hypertension. But you cannot just take one reading, then you find it high, then you say that I'm hypertensive. No.
Okay, thank you. I'm coming back to Dr. Edward, to Dr. Rogers. Self-treatment. Abantu bekembe muno kwejanjaba. Nyongera pressure yange nzakora kinu na kinu. Should they continue doing it under isolated systolic hypertension?
I would say no. Nkabako tukwa tugambire. Iyo borabona mukano ipumi. It is so good kirungi muno kusangi to abantu we take that initiative to kumiromoka. But then obora sanga pressure yawe ya higuru. Ere chukumia na gara higuru. Then ahanse richenda gara higuru. Nyabuliwe. Iruko jo mirwaro. Ofuna mukugu, ofuna musaku sohore, kinu na kinu wachukuro. But emunde emingi ntubagamba like oborabona mukaya ukafune kintu nkekyo ukashanga reading of that caliber. No so akusanga maybe watu kuri hayi. Baho itu wakora. 1 keshi kusuru na munamune kusuru kibisi.
Ekibisi?
Yes.
Aroho the other class ndiki abakutera mune ekyo okunyo. Huwa kuja kuliye byokuli.
Nayongera
mwekiswa.
Anyo noranga nyohiza. I think we hani nintanga kusoma that is after senior 6 nitanga medical school nisoka kwenda kanya extra kibisi nibwo bumezo bundu kandi bine waiting kurwara bwensonga I know what to eat abantu mtaoni bikalambe gomba size yange but njukorera so enga yawe na ine tuyamba muno so when you at home okafuna such reading keshe kusura kan kweno kwa no mangu extra nabwo no keshe avoid extra kibisi be physically fit funa hakire or batemu or jogging but na gama ngo yiruki because when you start with running it is more strenuous nchijwasha muno kanchi chiletera mutuma gwakora muno wepume collaborate haka dog shop akuri he maybe can someone who is substantial you can also have your blood sugar levels monitored arhakanti kichagamba abantu are this hot lemon hot lemon it is very key mukurwana exercise there is what we call weight management Dr. Bagambire about this familial exposure case it's not like ebisajwa
no mubiri
we call them familial hyperlipidemia kusanga and hypercholesterolemia kusanga familia yanyu inywena muikara mwine bisajwa
muri bakoto
but not necessarily kusanga bakoto but familia yanyu sanga iyo manyirwe ubajya mwirwara basanga ibisajwa no batugiye bisajwa biri kukabiri hari bisajwa birungi nebibi ebirungi ebiruga mu kibiri bija mureva ubukujya mureva cyumanisa byaje kuba metabolized and eliminated then ebibi byo mbiho mbune bitwaranka mu kibiri ari nje kusanga umuntu no nyeta nebinywa byawo mbi nibiba like nibikeha they get more narrower and that's the beginning of hypertension so nimbaterera like when you get such a pressure reading 19 tandike binte be physically fit yotanga eksura wejanja babo avoid stress stress no hambianense aramundo kusanga 247 na hambianense
narwana naye nabanta nyencha
funa hakire humureho get time for yourself and we shall definitely get there then no wala funa hakire jamwirwaro ofuna musaho akebere deni akwena habuzi
nambiro sanga ruhanga no murameza Dr. Rogers turozera ba health experts muge kono terator region hamutu time and again I think you know where now I'm going akaroira kanwa ko nywerero ulbam habanta kyabanya kubera mutora hano for long why is it at high risk mutora
enkumibira ikumna mukaga ku ikumna kom it's when I got my first employment next tongole chuku kora niyo firni yangu ya kuganisa akauka kumnywelero so I think I have enough experience
that is why I'm asking you that question
and we kura statistics zino za toro abantu bakufuna akauka kumnywelero bahagati ya 15 teka abernene sinsinga nikeletwake iwe kizo ina msete nyondo mwana munako kandi umuntu mwana munako niyo mwana kuzokuru so I think it's high time itu abantu abakuru abine kitwineho nte twebereremo kiza no tumara umuntu murwi but no ikara no sendi singo wisku bwa banda rubudu tubamanyire mutanto tubamanyire abamugomanyire so these habits are not going to stop because the vulnerable group is being attracted to that abineo and for the case of scenario like Kantoro region
Fort Portal city
kichagumangine muno besides the intervention that have been put in place because of the socio-economic impact
situation
omunako omugeiga so nchokurora ensinganto they are being doubled now and again hanu toro nofuna motoka nofuna muntu okwenda why because of the socio-economic status that we are seeing in town so ningambanda ito abantu abino hakatito tukakolese kurumba kandi kweno mango umuntu mari kurwiri be open over so muntu I'm on treatment and okurwara sirimu kanki bazentyo chikumanyisa ngo obwomezi bwo bwahwaho turozera abantu barwire and they have pushed 20 years 30 years ahead for as long as bamira kurunga embazi. So the only way itwe nk'abantu batoro na fotopoto kurango twagobora mu kine kinto mu we have seen funding now and again being affected. So what does this mean? It means it calls for us to really take key measures. But taking key measures, each amount of are affected. We are supposed to take our treatment. And there is what we call U equals U. I think of it overall. When it is undetected, it is untransmitted. So kubanomera kurunga mbazi gwao. For example, katugambi kiza twakukebera saa zino twasango ina kabuka kumnyerera. Mu myezi mukaka toine kubano wakoraki oina kauka mbakisaka kadora munanka mu test viral load yawo semeko biringa low. So in that case nkimanyisa if someone adheres effectively
to the treatment
and the viral load will be suppressed and he is not going to be in position of transmitting the infection. So let's take the treatment, and for those who are not yet infected, let's take key measures, prevent, abstain. If you can't abstain, use a condom. If you can't use both of them, we have brought other measures. We have made as an implementing partner for this region. And those measures we have like PrEP. PrEP means pre-exposure. What does it mean? It means otakagireyo gire chuwaitanaranayo. Yaka litakan baketa ED PrEP. Like event-driven prevention method. So like iwe kiza no kimanya kero ni chakuli account kan. You are supposed to kumena mbaz. After some time you take another pill. Na nyencho koleki omela kajumu. So all those measures are within our reach.
I've had sex, but I've sensed as if my
after a few hours, as guided by the guidelines, you take another pill. You go for an event. Because tumwemanyire almost no manya. Nyencho maze kurugayo koreki? So is it hard? So I
maybe there's this scenario. Then we go back to rapping. Omuntu, I've been with the Dr. Nicholas Rogers. We've got sex, but now I've sensed Nicholas, your wound is positive. After, where do we go now?
So hanu toro we are blessed. Amarwaro gona gutina hanu katube mucha kebe kagote kebe karambi kebe uhin. We have PEP.
PEP.
Which is called post-exposure prophylaxis. Ngomaze kyabaho hatoruno itandana. So ege mbaze marwaro gona ga hanu katoro kan mbaze yarusi. So ningamana iyo watangana kantu kawo wakarike. Baitu watanga kugura guruchama. Anmo sabamba batera twakuikiza ngukiza testinga. Kwa ndipo maze kurya ikire irwaro basobore, they will give you the treatment, and the treatment is free of charge.
Okay, I want us to go back to that.
And before najeza ukongera ukache itirigera eshaha ezuwa mbira mwechizu mecho. You have to consider the time when you take that PEP after you have prayed sex. That's unprotected sex. Yeah, mostly it is in between. If you realize it, make sure you go and get that PEP immediately. The earlier the better. But if you cannot get it immediately, make sure you don't exceed 72 hours.
Okay, I want us to go back to isolated systolic hypertension. As we wrap up, Dr. Rogers and Nicholas, arowero wosanga uwono mutera munaba saija uwono mutera munaba kazi. I want us najo tukirola ekintu
okay, so umutekaniza kiza webare muno for drawing my attention regarding the gender. Isolated systolic hypertension is more common in men. Mubasaija but then tukuja mbakazi abakazi munabarigire mu nsonga zebwe postmenopausal women. And I'm really happy that you reminded me about that key point. So it went bona kutrora tunekuma ngo pressure level
incrementing systolic blood pressure. Incrementing systolic blood pressure. So after knowing what it is, just to know who are those people at risk. if you find yourself you're falling in that category of people who are at risk, as we have said, we mean those people who don't balance their diet, who smoke, who take
But Dr. Nicholas and I go to Fort TV restaurant because I don't want to call these restaurants but I'm going on a Monday, I'm having pasted beef, rice, maybe kalo, obzavara. That is a balanced diet on my side. Tomorrow, I then come back, I have goat's meat, kalo, gonza, with the that is not balanced diet. That is.
But there is what we call lean meat. Lean meat, that is masave. Then why should, if you know there is, for example, there is fish. Fish falls among lean meat. We have pork, chicken, all those lean meat. So if you know there is that lean meat, why should you go to that meat which has more fats? Taking meat is not a problem. Meat, kalo, greens, that is a very good diet that cannot expose you to too much fat deposits into your body. So you enjoy your meat, but make sure there is no fat.
To Rogers here, as we end up, is from Platinum. Do you treat this as we end up, is from Platinum? Do you treat this as platinum?
And of course, with Platinum Medical Center, you're sorted. And what is interesting, Platinum Medical Center,
free of charge.
And ekinkwenda gamba abantu batooro nensi yone kutrola and ekinkwenda gamba abantu batooro nensi yone kutrola Platinum Medical Center ndiyo wale kumanza mtooro line ba specialists batano, tuine cardiologist, tuine ENT surgeon, tuine orthopedic surgeon, tuine pediatrician, tuine gynecologist, ebyo na tugini kana mkwezo kwijja kwa kasatu nzija kwa 5 operations banyamugisa abantu batooro aba balemerirwe who have been recommended to be operated tujja kubakora obuse so guno mugisa gunya ngizire let's utilize it. Platinum Medical Center nesanga mu muti okwana ruga mukisenya no temba chikali ali hirwaro nyarugatwa, so come and have services okweni namba yange ndi musome
ngimuhereza kantora motuta
as a medical director we hirwaro ni rumu namba yange ni 07839 666 47 078 3 9 3 mwije we are prepared to offer service, exceptional services. Platinum Medical Center, we are excellence meets care.
Okay, it was a pleasure having these two gentlemen from Platinum, but most importantly they were talking about isolated systolic hypertension. It is a kika pressure kigiye kwa kutabaniza muno abantu akura bale myaka 5 genda higuru kamuno n'abasaiza betu bagamba abakazi abanyagurukire menopause abanyakuli myaka 5 genda higa butacyagenda mu nsonga zabo zekicyara twabazaho bingi ruhanga barabikirize Rogers akaleta akasente mu program na sponsoring health tip tujya kumiza mpijantu bazeho ebintu bingi mune kutabanizaho abantu abaitu batorka muna abantu abakuru wabo mugambye ndo estazim nazim nimba sima kusanga mcharo. Free Talk is coming in next with Rosette. I wish you a very good morning.